Lockdowns might be over, but the pandemic is still affecting many of our lives, including our relationships with family, friends, colleagues, and others. A study found a quarter of respondents said the pandemic placed pressure on their relationships, with almost 1/3 saying they found their partner irritating. And in a study by UCL, more than 1/5 of UK adults experienced complete breakdown of relationships with family, friends, and colleagues or neighbours. And since Jen and I have been together 14 years, married 12, we're certainly not perfect, and we do have our disagreements. This isn't supposed to be a brag, but the fact is we're good. The pandemic didn't affect our relationship. So I thought it might be useful to share relationship habits that nurture our relationship and helps it flourish. And these can be applied to any relationships. So let's just jump straight in. Okay, ready?
I have no idea. Have you thought about this? Like, what do you think?
Okay, I'll share one and then see if that triggers anything.
Because I don't think about our relationship very much.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I guess that's a good sign, right? Okay, one thing which I feel that we both do is we're always appreciative.
We don't take the other person for granted.
Exactly. If I've cooked something and Jen does the dishes, I always say I'm really grateful you did that.
Wait, did I thank you for the meal? I don't know.
Which meal?
In general, you said in that scenario you cooked something and then I cleaned.
Oh yes, you do. No, and then she'll thank me for the meal.
That's or like when you helped me out with the card selling.
Right? Yeah, she doesn't take it. She was like, thank you. And I'm like, of course. And she's like, no, of course. And I'm like, yeah, of course. One is not taken for granted, and two is always being appreciative.
Being generous. And generous, I don't mean by like giving gifts or whatnot, more like generous like with your time and your attention. Right? So for example, if I know you have a deadline coming up, a big event to prepare for.
She's really sniffing your hand.
Because I was eating olives.
Oh, okay, that's why I was wondering. Yeah. Being generous with your time, yeah.
Being generous with your time. Like if you have a deadline or I know you have a client event coming up, I will make more effort to cook more of the meals and run around and do a bit more of the chores. And the same with you. When I have like a deadline coming up, you do the same.
Yeah, we consciously do that.
It's not, and we don't really ask the other person to do it. It's just, okay, I know she has this thing. I'm just going to do this. Yeah,
it's a conscious decision. And if ever it doesn't happen, it's usually because the other didn't think about that. But then when we realise it, we're like, then we make the effort.
Ooh. Sometimes I'm really tired or stressed out and I'll come to you and you're clearly doing some work, but you know I need a little bit of attention, so you'll give it to me.
Yeah. And another one, which bouncing off that one, is we don't actually count who cooks. It just happens all nice and organically. There are some times when either you don't feel like doing anything or I just want to sit on the sofa and just be lazy. And we just give that to the other person. You know, like she's cooked and I don't want to put the dishes away. I don't. You're like, no, don't worry. You get that. We give that to each other when we just upfront say, I want to be lazy. Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
So that's the generous thing.
Yeah. You're talking about habits. I want to say meditating, but the thing is, even before we started meditating regularly, we didn't really argue that often, and usually one of us would kind of just step out of it, right?
Yeah.
In a way, like, it's like in terms of a mindset, like, I guess you would put that as like refusing to argue or refusing to fight with the other person. And that doesn't mean you don't listen to them when they're upset. It's more like you don't provide any resistance to what they're saying. You just kind of absorb it, let it pass over you, and say, okay, this person is upset, and maybe I don't agree with what they're saying, but I'm not going to feed this irritation or this anger or this mood that this person is in.
Yeah.
And like, we can talk about this maybe later.
Yes.
But I'd say we were doing that before, but after meditating, it's even more the case. We're more even and less likely to get sucked into the other person's drama or irritation or ego.
Yeah. When you are being present, you're not going to feed the other person's ego, because we hardly ever argue, but the rare times when we do, it's because we're both in it. But doing my best to be present helps diffuse it, because it only takes one of us to diffuse it. And when I'm in a stroppy mood, she'll just let it be. Okay, that's not her. We recognize that's not her. That's not Jen. When she's in a bad mood, that's not Jen. That is, the ego's crept up.
It's not just Jen. It's sometimes me.
Me. No, I said me first. That's not her. I said me. I was talking about Mia. And you'll notice it when the ego has passed. Then we'll always come back. I'll always come back and I'm saying I'm sorry.
Yeah, both of us usually say
so.
We're sorry. Well, like when we have like a little. And I don't always like saying ego because sometimes people don't really understand what that means. Sometimes when you let the emotion take over, like anger or irritation or frustration or depression or sadness, and you can recognize that it looks a little bright. Or is it just me?
I think a filter will sort that out.
Okay.
Focusing on the small things. We keep a bottle of water by us so that we make sure we drink the water, and it's just to help our habit of drinking 2 liters of water a day. She will fill up my bottle of water when she sees it's empty, and I will fill up her bottle of water.
Which is not empty very often.
And keeping her a glass of water by her bed before bedtime. Doing small things without being asked.
It's a branch of not taking the other person for granted. There's a certain point, when you've been with someone for so long where it's easy to not treat them like a human in a way, like a person, like a different person. You're just like, oh, whatever, like this person's here. So it's just remembering like being courteous, that this is the kind of thing you would do for a friend or a house guest as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not taking
and just
them.
kind of giving them that respect.
Yeah.
And respect is actually a good one.
Yes.
Like respect. Oh yeah, respect is a huge one, and the reason why I thought about it is because I know I've said this already. We don't argue that much, but we do sometimes. But it's very low level, and we never say anything we will regret. Oh. We never say anything vicious. We don't call each other names.
No.
And the reason I say that is because there are a couple of couples that I can think of where I have witnessed them arguing, and it's vicious. It's really, really vicious, and the things they say are incredibly hurtful, and they'll call each other names. It's shocking. Like, I can't imagine ever calling my partner or my friends or my family or just talking to them like that. It's just it is them. They're stuck in their ego, but it's like they're so far drawn into the emotion that they lose all sight of the other person. Right? But like they wouldn't do that with their boss or friend, but they'll do it with their partner, right? Because you have fewer boundaries, I guess, with your partner.
So we don't.
So it's like respect, respecting.
Yeah. She's always looking to learn and grow and trying new things, and that makes her an endless source of interest and inspiration. And then it just becomes an endless source of interest and conversation, and we could talk hours. We really could. So that's because Jen works on herself. I'm constantly working on myself. So we're constantly growing and bringing more of ourselves. I think that's helped. I think that's useful too. And we talk a lot too. Yeah.
We can have long stretches of time where we don't talk. Like we can be in the same room reading or doing something. And I like that too. We don't feel the need to talk. And we're both basically introverts. So that's nice.
She more than me.
Have you not thought of a way to wind this down?
Oh yeah, I thought of a way to wind this down. Yeah.
I like how you just repeated what I said.
Yeah.
Have you not thought of a way to wind this down?
Oh yeah, sort of a way to wind this down.
We always see the best in each other. And
well, maybe you should explain what that means.
I just changed jobs. I just finished a master's degree and I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And Jen said to me one day, this job is beneath you. You could do so much better. Why don't you try something on your own? And that never occurred to me.
It wasn't any sales job. It was that particular job.
Yeah, it was that particular job. She started believing in a part of me that I'd never believed in before. And that really gave me the confidence to try, to reach, and so on. And she's always supported my decisions and whatever it is I try to do when I'm trying to carve my path. Even doing improv completely supported me and just sees the best in me and always tries to help me just become the best in it, whatever it is I do. And that's always been amazing, I think.
Encouragement, right? Constantly encouraging your your other half, right? Because, you know, she's my biggest cheerleader by far, constantly encouraging me to do things that I think about doing. Because I always have lots of ideas, but it's really hard for me to execute because I have that analysis paralysis. And for example, with the card business, you know, I mean, it's really weird calling it a business now, because I just basically last year I decided, oh, maybe I'll make a Christmas card. And I didn't really think too much about what, you know, a long-term sort of business plan. It was just like, I'm going to do this because I need a project and I need some distraction because I was frustrated with other things. And so I made a Christmas card, and she's like, and I said, maybe I'll sell it. And when I finished, it took forever to make the Christmas card because I'm a perfectionist. And then when I was done, I was like, no, I don't like it. And she's like, no, come on, just print it and see it. And so I printed it, and I was like, it's okay. And then found a printer to do a print, and then I saw them. I'm like, oh, I don't like the prints, but you're like, come on, just do it, just sell it. They look great, they look fantastic. It's just in your own head, and you know, just every step of the way, I was just finding flaws and faults and reasons why something wouldn't work, and she would just keep nudging me again and again and again, and she still does it. And that's, you know, that's not going to be useful for everyone, but like, for me, it's very helpful. So it's also understanding like what your partner needs and how they react to your feedback, right? Really understanding, basically what they need.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that leads to breakdown and conflict in a relationship is when you are easily triggered. You know what I'm talking about, right? Now, watch this video next on how to avoid getting triggered by loved ones, because our loved ones, they know how to push our buttons, right? Intentionally or unintentionally. But when you watch this video next, you'll avoid getting triggered so you can continue to bring your best self into the relationship. Okay, thanks for watching. I'm Anise Kisselbash. I really appreciate you spending time on watching these videos. You help me help more people. I'm so grateful for your time. Anyway, I'll see you soon. Bye.